Hey guys, I know it's been a super long time since I've made a video, but I wanted to get on here. As you can tell by the title, I have COVID-19, and this is something that I've been very scared to get. This is something I've been very cautious of this whole pandemic. And so as of right now, I am okay. My two daughters are also sick with COVID, and so I'll get into like my symptoms and whatnot, but first I just want to get into like where I think the exposure came from, because there's two possibilities. So the first one is I went to the emergency room. This was 2 weekends ago now. I had went to the emergency room, and it was because I had PCOS and I had a ruptured cyst, and I was in excruciating pain. So I had to go to the hospital. I don't like going to the hospital, especially during the pandemic. So I did go there. I wore double masks. And when I was there, I was in the waiting room for 4 hours. Let me start off by saying that. And there was this guy in there that was coughing like every minute for the whole 4 hours. And he ended up testing positive for COVID. And so to rewind a little bit, I was in the waiting room, like I said, for 4 hours, and I had my masks on and everything. There was this triage nurse who was taking vitals and, doing all that stuff. And so he came over to me, and he was coming to take my blood pressure for the second time. But the first time I just like went along with it. The second time I had noticed he went and took someone else's blood pressure, and then he came to do mine without even wiping down the cuff or anything. And so at that point I was like, are you gonna wipe down the cuff? When he came to put it on me, and I was like, are you gonna wipe down the cuff, or are you gonna like change it out or anything? And he's like, no, I've been using the same one all night long. And I was like, well, how do you know the people in the waiting room don't have COVID? Like, I actually said that to him. I was like, how do you know they don't have COVID? And I was like, I don't want to get infected due to someone else's germs. And I was just like, never mind, like I don't want to take my blood pressure right now, no thank you. And so eventually he came back, like maybe 30 minutes later he came back, during this waiting period, and he did give me a brand new cuff, and I got to keep it on and whatnot. But then when I went back to a room, the gentleman who had been coughing for 4 hours had went back right before me. So he was the person right before me. He went back, and he ended up being in a room right next to me. And the nurses were talking about how he had COVID, and I brought up the whole situation, and the nurses really apologized. And I was like, I'm not sure what it is, but it seems like there's like this laziness around COVID at this point in the pandemic. And yeah, she was like, yeah, it's like COVID fatigue. She's like, but I am really sorry about that. So that was the first like exposure that I had, that I was aware of it, and the guy was right next to me too in the once we were in our own rooms. So like we were in close proximity, and he's coughing up a lung, like it was really bad. So as soon as I got home, and everything like that, after I was done with my hospital visit and treated for my ruptured cyst, of course I washed everything and did all that, and I didn't notice any symptoms. So I thought I was good, I thought, okay, within 2 to 3 days I would be having symptoms, and that was not the case. So I thought I was in the clear, and maybe I am in the clear from that exposure. I'm not 100% sure. The other thing is that my oldest daughter, who is 8 years old, she's in 3rd grade, there is no mask mandate in school. There are a bunch of kids getting sick in her school. There were emails sent home how there had been an outbreak as well. And so my daughter was the first one who started showing symptoms, and this was 5 days ago. So she started showing symptoms 5 days ago. She got a fever, and then she lost her taste and smell, and she had a headache. So obviously brought her home from school, kept her home, all that stuff. And within 24 hours, her fever disappeared. I gave her Tylenol, her fever went away, and then her headache went away as well. And after that initial 24-hour period, she really did not need any Tylenol or any medicine. And since then, within the past couple of days, she continues to improve. She feels better every single day. She's getting her smell and her taste back now. And yeah, so it was never anything super severe. I honestly thought it was just like a cold or something like that, or I don't know, maybe like a flu or something. But I wasn't overly concerned because she wasn't that sick. She lost her smell and taste, and that was like my first like, uh-oh, like I hope this isn't COVID. But aside from that, and then the fever for the one day, there was not that much concern for me. For me, on how many days ago was this? So for me, on Saturday, 3 days ago, I all of a sudden lost my smell and my taste. And for me, it felt different than any other kind of cold or flu or virus or anything I've experienced. And that's why I was like, I knew it was COVID. Like, I just had this gut feeling it was COVID because I can still breathe out of my nose. To this day, I can still breathe out of my nose, but I can't taste. It's like, if I try to describe it, it's like if there was a switch, like a light switch, for example. It's like someone turned off the switch of my smell and my taste, but I can still breathe out of my nose. And typically, if I've gotten sick other times, it's like a gradual thing. Like if I'm losing my taste, it's because my nose is so stuffed up, or like something coincides. It's not just all of a sudden like lights off, and that's what it is. Like there's nothing. I can kind of taste hints of sweet, sour, salty, that kind of stuff, but no actual flavor. And it's so weird because I want to be able to taste, but I just can't. And that, like I said, it's just completely different from any other sickness I've had. So that was the first thing. And then I did start to get a little bit of like sinus pressure. I do still have that, but it's nothing crazy. It's kind of like some sinus pressure, and then my ears, like, feels like a little pressure in here, but nothing too painful. I do, like, my neck is like a little bit sore, but it's not stiff. And I feel like it's just because like my lymph nodes are a little bit swollen, and obviously I'm sick. So it's nothing super concerning at this point to me. But along with that, I have this headache that won't go away. I've had a headache for 3 days now. And it's not like a pounding headache. It's just pressure, just like achy pressure in my head. And then additionally, I have hot flashes. So I'm just, randomly throughout the day, I'm just getting overheated and like sweating. Let me think, what else? I don't have a sore throat, nothing like that. I'm able, when I do cough, I am able to cough up, like if I have some drainage, I'm able to cough it up. I'm able to blow my nose. I feel like I'm getting air. It's just really weird that I can't, like there's no smell, there's no taste. And so like it could be the worst smell, or it could be the best smell, it could be the strongest smell, and I still can't smell it. And that's just a really weird feeling. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have going on. Oh, the one other thing is nausea. I just get nauseous. Like I do get hungry. I'm still getting hungry, and it's weird because I'm so hungry and I want to eat, but then, like I said, I can't taste. But then I'm getting like these weird spells of like nausea. So I think that kind of has to do with, I kind of feel dehydrated. So I know I need to up my water intake. But I just wanted to get on here and share my COVID symptoms with you guys. I also have a 2-year-old daughter, and we've been sharing drinks before I knew I had COVID. We had been sharing drinks. I mean, that's what we do. Like, we're super close, and so we share everything. She sleeps in bed with me. She has her own bed, but she always wants to sleep in bed with me, and I'm always holding her. I mean, she's in very close proximity with me. So, and her sister. So she really does not have any COVID symptoms. I know she has COVID. Like, there's no way she can't have COVID. But the only thing I've noticed with her is that she's a little bit cranky, like a little bit fussier than normal. But she doesn't have a fever. She doesn't have a runny nose. She doesn't have a cough. Like, she doesn't have any symptoms. So I'm very thankful. But we are COVID positive, and I don't know if things are going to take a turn for the worse. I really pray and I hope not. But I would just like to ask you guys to please keep me and my daughters in your prayers. And honestly, I'm wishing and hoping the best for you guys as well. This pandemic has been extremely draining. It's just honestly taken a toll on me a lot harder than I thought it would in every aspect of my life. Like, it's changed my life completely, not from having COVID, but just the whole pandemic. And now having COVID and just being very conscious and aware of the reality of COVID, and knowing how many people it's killed and how you can be super strong and healthy, and it can just take a complete turn for the worse. So I am worried about that. I am fearful, but I am positive as well. I'm staying positive. I'm praying, I'm a healthy person aside from my PCOS. And so I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get through this, and my children and, my whole family, anyone that could be affected by this, I just am hoping and praying that we get through this. I'm just really thankful that I'm okay at this point, and my children are okay, and pray that anyone else who is going through this is okay as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to go ahead and subscribe to my channel, I will be giving you guys COVID updates on me and my daughters. Thank you for keeping me in your prayers, and I will just talk with you guys next time. Bye.